our answer to a great lifestyle, to raising a healthy, happy family, and to being able to start a farm on very little money was, let's go back to the valley where our parents are, and land is cheap and everything's safe, and I know I can make it work. So we did it. We bought this house, and we're really excited about it. This little log cabin for a great, perfect small little cabin, cozy for a beginning family. And immediately went to work learning how to grow vegetables. This is back in 2004, 2005. Along the way, knew I had to do a lot of work in terms of finding other income before the farm could make it. And so I went back to school, got my degree in counseling, and worked in the area as a child and family therapist for about 6 years. And that brought me to Project Grows. So Project Grows is my first opportunity to manage a farm full-time. The mission of Project Grows is to improve the health of children and youth through food access and food education. And I'm really proud of that work. All the while doing that, both my wife and I were investing our income, part of our income, into developing the land here. Earthworks to manage the runoff, both from my neighbor's field who sprays, and from big storm events here, putting up greenhouses and high tunnels, trying to get the farm ready when I was able to do it full time.
I'm born and raised on a dairy farm in upstate New York. I know what that is like. Farming is hard work. You never get a day off. It is 24/7. And when you are relying on nature to provide you and your family with your income, your livelihood, that's hard enough as it is. You could get a storm and your crops are done. Mm-hmm. It's hard enough as it is for our farmers. Then to add this on top of it?
That brought us up to 2015, and the dream's finally here. The nonprofit I had run for years was stable and able to hand it off to someone who was better at it than me. She's doing a great job. And my dream was there. I get to run a farm full time, Dancing Star Farm. And for the last 2 years, it's been a treat. It's been so much fun. We're in our development stages right now, where every cent that we earn, we reinvest into the next year. Last year we had a farm manager come on, and next year he's coming back with us, and he's actually getting promoted to farm operator, which means a little bit more money and more responsibility, and our revenue next year is set to double. So we're almost at sustainability, which is exciting. We believe that sustainability on our small piece of land that we grow intensively on is about $125,000 a year in gross revenue. That's not a lot of money, but that's 2 full-time jobs and a part-time job, and a lot of really healthy food for the community. And the treat that I have, I get to do it. I love it. Dancing Star Farm, we specialize in mixed vegetables, focusing on mixed greens and heirloom tomatoes. High intensity, high value vegetables. And I feel so lucky that I get to do it, because this has been a 15-year dream. Stanton and Harrisonburg markets on Saturday, a CSA program, and then Harrisonburg restaurants and a few Stanton restaurants. So we're estimating around 200 families. And all those are great relationships we have with the community I get to participate in the farm table economy, and just full of cool people. And this is Augusta County. This is what we do. We farm here. So now I'll back up to tell you a little background on how we're in our predicament. I'd been aware of the pipeline for several years now on the periphery, and it's a mistake, but I don't identify as a protester. I was never thrilled about the pipeline, but I wanted to be someone that did the work, and I was too busy doing the work to pay too much attention, which ended up being a real mistake on my part. in July, we had 3 big trucks roll up. Bunch of dudes jumped out in my driveway, and I was like, "What are you guys doing here?" They said, "Oh, we're here to check out that field. Do you own it?" I said, "No." They said, "Okay." They walked out to the field. Didn't even get a chance. I think I might have said, "Are you allowed to be here?" And some guy said, "You can't stop us." This is July. We're so busy. Sweating my ass off. It's 100 degrees outside. I'm not going to stop what I'm doing. I was like, all right, whatever. I think they left 2 bodyguards in their truck to read their paper or something, and we went on with our day. And I forgot about it. Then 3 weeks ago, driving to a buddy's house to help him with some chore, taking down a tree or something. And I go by my neighbor's driveway, and I see the blue sign notice zoning change or whatever that official sign is. And my thought was, oh, what's that about? I called the county to ask some questions. And the answer I got, and I know for a fact the county was not intentionally misleading. I just don't think the county really knew what was going on. I called them and I said, "What's going on with this?" And they were like, "Oh, it's not a big deal. Dominion's going to put a couple pipes over there on that driveway." I think I said, "Oh, that sucks." Some version of that. "Tell me more." And she's like, "Well, it's just not that big a deal. It's going to be this and that, and it's going to be way over there." And I remember thinking, okay, I can live with that. I'd rather not be. This is going to be really inconvenient. I don't like the pipeline. But at that point, it wasn't enough to really get me going. Then about 8 days ago, the owners of White Wayside, they own another small business here in Churchville. They came knocking on my door. And they're real good people, and they've come here a couple times before. They're real committed to the local economy as well. So I really respect how they put their money where their mouth is. They're not just out there waving signs. They're doing the work too. Put up a big solar array right next to there. I mean, yeah, love it. Jack and Mary knocked on the door, and I was pretty grumpy with them. I was like, "Guys, I got stuff to do. Please don't bother me with this. I already called the county." And Jack was like, "No, Ryan, you've got to go down and look at this information." I was like, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah, they're telling you one thing, but I think if you look at it, you'll see something else." And so I listened to him and I went to the county. And that's when I realized, oh no, this is not just a few pipes. This is 34 acres, 100 feet from my driveway, uphill and upwind from me, surrounded by 8-foot tall barbed wire fence. The acreage will be packed down with gravel, which is treated as asphalt, as an impermeable surface. I've watched the water flow off that field for 13 years. It was imperative I watch it and observe it because I had to design a swale system to manage all the runoff so I didn't get hit with all of Stanley's chemicals. I've done that. This is going to bring a whole lot more than just urea and glyphosate. That's it.
This contractor yard was not even in the FERC-approved plans for the Atlantic Coast Pipeline. If you go back into the environmental impact statement that FERC approved, this isn't in it. But others are. So why was this one left off? Mm-hmm. Why are others included? These are all answers that we don't have.
So I dug deeper, asked more questions. Fuel tanks. My daughter reads books 100 feet from where they're going to store that. Then they said, oh, there'll be trailers there. Why? Well, there'll be workers there. How many? 400 a day. But don't worry, Mr. Blosser, there'll only be 40 there all day. Okay. This keeps getting worse and worse. I was like, so what's this section way up here on the hill? They said pipe fabrication and pipes. So how many trips are you going to make in and out of a very dangerous road, a tiny road? You were driving this road. You know firsthand how hard it is to traverse 42. It's not easy.
Right.
30 trips a day in and out with giant machinery. I started to express to the county my worry, and they said, don't worry, there's a pond here that they're going to dig. That'll protect you from all the runoff. I was like, that pond is going to have to be huge in scale. What engineers signed off on this?
Right.
Where's the work that's been done? They didn't have the answer. They reassured me. There's a lot of letters opposing it. I was like, all right, and I left and started getting online saying, please come out and help. Went to the meeting, and my wife and I are heartbroken. We're scared. We're hoping that we're going to learn something better, that Dominion's got a good answer, that our board of zoning appeals is going to ask some tough questions. We were let down. At the Board of Zoning Appeals, Dominion gave what amounted to an 8th grade book report. I mean, that a bad student did. It was terrible. Every question they asked, even the easy ones, there was like kicking rocks and saying, oh shucks, I don't know, it's up to the contractor. It was a shit show. If I had given that presentation, if someone that worked for Danestar Farm gave that presentation for some sort of zoning special permit on this property, and I paid them to do it, I would have fired them. In fact, the 4 or 5 presenters, I forget how many, that came before us, small business owners in Augusta County. One guy wanted to add another garage to his business so he could expand and hire someone else and work on more vehicles. He had a tougher time with questions. He was challenged more. He had to produce more information to prove that it was going to be safe and not disrupt the neighborhood than Dominion. All Dominion had were, slick, folksy, wink, wink, it'll be okay. Yeah. That's all we got. Joy and I got up and told our story. 40 plus other people told their story. And the zoning board decided to table it till next month, February 1st, where they're going to vote. In doing that, they've closed the public hearing. I feel helpless. I feel powerless. At February 1st meeting, there's no more public comment. It's done. Dominion gets to provide more information where they were short on. Dominion, the 8th grade book report who showed up having not read the book, they were like, oh, that's okay. You'll get a second chance. And that's hard. And I know that I'm powerless. I can't fight it. I can't do anything about it. I go back and forth. I'm trying really hard to not exaggerate what we feel the danger is. But my wife and I, we will not raise our children next to that. With the being downwind and all the chemicals and the fumes on the site. With the 400 workers coming in and out. And I was talking to Jennifer earlier, we're on our own out here. If something gnarly goes down, we don't have anyone to help us. And are those 400 workers going to be background checked? We don't know. Dominion's answer to that was, don't worry about it. We'll provide 24-hour armed security inside the barbed wire. It's like, oh, that makes me feel better. Thanks. Cool. Right on. And so our safety is a threat. We're not going to live here. The kids won't stay here. It's only 2 years. The board said that. It's only 2 years, by the way, which I found very insulting. Very insulting. And condescending. Oh, it was so heartbreaking to hear that. Who are you looking out for? Dominion? Or your resident who's got a small business that's appropriate for the land he's on that's zoned for. I don't need a special permit to operate. And I'm making the land healthier and happier. And I'm selling to local customers. I'm going to pull myself back because I can get very angry very quickly. And I'm not there yet. But this will turn into an ugly interview if I start to show myself. That's unclear. And I wish I had done more homework. And that is probably something I'll be doing tomorrow, is making those phone calls. The way I understand it and the way it was presented at the board is that the Board of Zoning Appeals, if they say no, then Dominion appeals it and it goes straight to the judge and the judge decides. That's the way I understand that. And I may be misinterpreting or misled, and I'm going to find that out. I'm also not sure if we, as a neighborhood, can appeal a decision. If we can, I will, if they vote yes. Because the other piece of that I didn't mention is my small business is under threat. Right now is when I'm doing heavy marketing and bringing in income for our CSA program. People are not buying shares because of that. My customers really care about the cleanliness of their food. I'm worried that even if I were to test and prove every week that there's no chemicals on my soil or my food, that the perception of having that thing is going to cost me thousands and thousands of dollars. It already is costing me money right now. This is my dream.
And you don't currently need to test every week?
No.
No, right.
No. We do need to test. I test twice a year.
Yeah.
I test my water a lot more often just for safety reasons for the family. We're on a well and, who knows what's getting down into there. I want to know. We do have to test when we have the inspection come on for our organic certification. This is year 3 of our farm. We initiated 2 months ago the process of organic certification. We expect to have the inspector on here in March. I called them to check in on this, and what they told me is they probably could still pass me if, and here's if, I, at my expense, do more earthworks that sufficiently that prove to them that it will sufficiently handle the chemical load that I'm being bombarded with every day. I don't feel like my rights are being protected. I don't feel like my business is being protected. I want to see every single bit of data that they have. Do they know how much water is going to sheet off that impermeable surface? Who's going to hold them accountable? Who's going to test them?
Right.
I want to know all those questions. What I'm hearing is it's standard practice that they don't do any of that work. They don't pay for that work until they get approved. That is an insane system. Insane.
When they do the work, will you be able to see it at least then?
I hope so.
Or will they call proprietary or something else? Or?
I don't know.
Yeah.
And there were, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm going to find out. I mean, the only thing I know how to do at this point is to make as much noise about this as possible. I'm not going to lose my business.
Right.
It's just not going to happen.
Right.
So I'm going to figure something out. Even if I have to move the farm off here for 2 years and I go through hell just to keep the business limping along for 2 years, I'm going to do it. It means too much to me. It means too much to me, and I don't want to let my customers down. Right. I have a personal relationship with every single person that buys food from me. I know them by name, and I value that.
And do you get any help from like the Economic Development Board? Do you get?
So my answer to that is no, but that's not all that fair because I don't ask for help.
About 2 years ago, I was elected to the Headwaters Soil and Water Conservation Board as a representative from Waynesboro. So on that board, we do a lot of work working with Augusta County farmers. And like Ryan was talking, a lot of the farmers in Augusta County are large farms, a lot of livestock, cattle, that kind of stuff. So we're working with farmers in installing best management practices on their farm, keeping their cattle out of the streams. Through the Soil and Water Board, we've gotten millions of dollars to implement these strategies and practices in Augusta County. We're called the Headwaters, so our water goes all over the state. So we have this huge responsibility to protect the water, not just for Augusta County, but for everybody that lives downstream from us and gets our water. So when we go to DC, when I'm talking to the governor about the seriousness of this pipeline issue, I'm telling them, you drink our water. I'm not being selfish and saying I don't want a pipeline in Augusta County. I'm saying this pipeline through Augusta County could ruin the water for millions of people. I find that this pipeline is a huge slap in the face to farmers who have done the work to fence out their cattle, are doing the right thing on their land to clean up the water. The E. coli in the Middle River is a significant problem, and farmers have been working to try to get those numbers down, and we're seeing the progress from that. We're seeing birds come back, we're seeing insects come back, we're seeing fish come back to our waters. For what? To let a for-profit corporation come in and ruin it with a pipeline.
I feel like I'm part of a really vibrant community of small farmers in this valley, and around Stanton and Harrisonburg. Right. So when I say small, I mean intense mixed vegetables on 10 acres or less. And there's a ton of us. I believe wholeheartedly, this is why I left the nonprofit, not only because it's my dream, but went for profit. Right. I believe the future of the economy here, of this bioregional economy, is small food-based businesses, small farms. Right now, Augusta County's got like 5 1,000-acre farms. I want to see 1,000 5-acre farms. And if one of those 5-acre farms is grossing $150,000 a year, that's a good enough living for everybody. And it's fun work, and it's feeding Augusta County. Dominion ain't gonna feed shit, period.